Hey everybody, welcome back to BobkeTV. Time once again for the Broom Wagon. Got a very hectic race schedule to get to in the good, the bad, and the ugly. Tragic news in the neutral zone news, and Musette Musings, of course, comes up after that, and tweet of the week, all of that on the Broom Wagon. Okay, everybody, let's get right into the racing. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The very good Nelson Paulus in the Palio di Ricciotto. One of the biggest one-day races for young, up-and-coming professionals in Italy, in Verona, Italy. Very tough circuit, lots of steep climbs, and that suits Nelson Paulus to a T. The Action Hagens-Berman squad rider producing the goods in the Palio di Ricciotto, so congratulations to Nelson Paulus. Over in the Gila, one of the toughest stage races in the United States is called the Tour of the Gila. The climbs are called monstrous for good reason, incredibly difficult climbing. And the men's side, the good Evan Huffman getting the win for the rally squad, and the women, Taylor Wiles for the UHC squad, United Healthcare. And brilliant riding by both of those teams in support of the overall winner. So congratulations to Evan and Taylor. The bad, however, Chad Young, stable condition after a horrific crash. And so thoughts and prayers for Chad Young, and try to update his condition in the weeks to come on the Broom Wagon. Moving on to the Tour of the Alps, Geraint Thomas on good form wins the overall Tour of the Alps. Giro del Trentino was the name of the race previously. No British rider had ever won that, so Geraint Thomas joins a very stratospheric number of riders. Only one Brit to win that. It was a brilliant race. And stage one, which would turn out to be tragic a few days later that we'll get to in a minute, was won by Michele Scarponi. But Geraint Thomas went on to win the overall in the Tour of the Alps. And it begs the question, does that mean Geraint Thomas is going to win the Giro d'Italia? Does he have the form required to win the Giro because of this big win? And does that mean he will be able to beat Nairo Quintana in a 3-week mountainous Grand Tour? No. The short answer, no. I think top 10 for Geraint would be very impressive. Many weeks ago, when Geraint announced that he was going flat out all in for the Giro, I said it's nice to lead Sky in a Grand Tour. Will it lead to success? To the win, that's not going to happen, but I think he will be competitive in a lot of the stages for stage wins. And then the two riders that will be contending for the overall, I think, will be Nairo Quintana and Vincenzo Nibali, who, by the way, the good also, just won the Tour of Croatia, and that has just finished. And Vincenzo got the news that as we all did, that Michele Scarponi was killed on a training crash just after the Tour of the Alps. Michele's stage win in the Tour of the Alps was the first time he won a bike race in, I think, four plus years. So a real tragedy. Nibali dedicated the win to his former teammate, who was instrumental in helping Vincenzo win the Tour de France in 2014. Dedicated the win and all of his prize money to the family of Michele Scarponi. And I think that Vincenzo Nibali will actually be Nairo Quintana's #1 rival in the upcoming Giro d'Italia. Also, the good to the great Alejandro Valverde, dominating the Flèche Wallonne and Liège-Bastogne-Liège. If you got the chance to catch the action on NBC Sports, it was two absolutely spectacular races, and dominated by Valverde, which prompted Chris Froome to count him as a serious Tour de France rival, which I mentioned a number of weeks ago on the Broom Wagon. I'm glad that Chris Froome agrees with me, and if Movistar races for Nairo, flat out, as they said they've done, going to do in the Giro, and Nairo doesn't think the parcours, the race route of the Tour de France is perfectly suited to his abilities, why not race for Alejandro Valverde, who is on the form of his life? He's having the greatest spring of his career, and you are not that dominant without understanding exactly what each rider is capable of on your team and pouring all the resources the team has into achieving that objective. Movistar will probably come into the Tour with 2 leaders, and if Valverde is leading and racing well, or winning stages and is close to Froome, I'm sure Movistar will race for Valverde in the Tour de France. If he's close or ahead of Froome going into Marseille, the second to last day of the Tour, he needs a big advantage because of the long time trial, the penultimate stage of this year's Tour de France. But be that as it may, might as well give Valverde a shot to win the Tour de France. You never know. In the women's Ardennes, Anna van der Breggen, absolutely dominant. The triple. She won Amstel, then she won, that's on Sunday, then Wednesday, she won Flèche, and then the next Sunday she won Liège-Bastogne-Liège. And the Boels-Dolman squad not having the dominant season so far that they have become accustomed to, and that we've become accustomed to seeing, but Anna van der Breggen dominating the Ardennes, the triple, to put Boels-Dolman back at the top of the standings for 3 straight races, and impressive riding by Anna van der Breggen. The ugly is this crash by Michael Valgren. We take a look at this video. Oh, Michael Valgren of the Astana squad just going down. I think his front tire got caught in a little seam in between the gutter and the roadway. Shooting the gutter to get to the front is sometimes your only option, but very dangerous place to ride, and Valgren going down hard on his face. Look at the tweet. Thanks for all the well wishes, and torn up. Michael Valgren, ugly crash in the Flèche Wallonne, and hope speedy recovery for Michael Valgren. He's first year on the Astana squad, and one of the most powerful riders in professional cycling. So hopefully he's back on the bike in short order and doing what he does best, smashing on the pedals. Very powerful athlete, and hopefully he'll be back for the Tour de France and racing at his best. Okay, everybody, up next, the Neutral Zone News. News from the Neutral Zone, a tragic report from Italy. Michele Scarponi has been killed after an accident while out training, hit by a motorist who did not see him, just 2 kilometers from his house. Michele had just won a stage of the Tour of the Alps a few days previously, stage number 1. His first win in over 4 years in his career, a brilliant stage win. He led the race after that and brought home a couple of leaders' jerseys for his kids, and went out training. He had been named the leader of the Astana team for the Giro d'Italia, a race that Michele had won in the past and was hoping to do well at and be successful. And indications were that he was had great form with the big stage win in the Tour of the Alps in front of Thibaut Pinot and Geraint Thomas. Real tragedy, and one of the brightest lights in professional cycling has been snuffed out. Michele Scarponi, always a smile, always a wave. By his interviews with our colleagues in Italian television and the Italian cycling press, really got to know Michele because his interviews were so engaging. You felt like you knew the characters that he was describing and the trials and tribulations that they go through. He was instrumental in helping Vincenzo Nibali win the Tour de France in 2014, and a real tragedy. He will never be replaced. There was nobody ever like Michele Scarponi, and my deepest and most heartfelt condolences to his family, to his fans and to his teammates, and he will be dearly missed and never replaced. I'm going to leave the Neutral Zone news at that, and next up is the Musette Musings. Okay, everybody, in the Musette Musings, Andre Grifko given a 45-day suspension for punching Marcel Kittel in the Dubai Tour, and I want to commend the UCI for giving Grifko this suspension. One shudders to think what would have happened if Marcel Kittel decided to retaliate after being punched by Grifko. That we can't have in cycling. The carnage that could have ensued if Marcel had decided to go after Grifko, very maybe rightly so. So Marcel, tremendous restraint not to do that, and justice has been served, and Grifko hopefully won't take his hands off the handlebars to punch somebody ever again in professional cycling. A pretty disturbing headline being generated by the Synergy Baku Cycling Project. One of its riders, Maxime Averin, has been suspended after testing positive for meldonium, which, if we recall, I mentioned in the Broom Wagon regarding Maria Sharapova back in January, I believe it was. And if you don't know that meldonium is on the banned substance list, you must be living under a rock, where Maxime Averin will have to return to the rock under which he must have been living for the last 4 months after testing positive for meldonium. They're going to find that every time. It stays in the system for a long time, apparently, if you believe another cyclist. Was it Lutsenko? Who was positive for meldonium also, but he was able to argue that it had been in his system since the previous year when it was not on the banned substance list. So, Maxime Averin, adios. I recommend 4 years. We'll see what the UCI does about that. Really disturbing news. Johan Offredo, professional on the Wanty squad, out on a training ride, attacked with baseball bats and knives, defended himself enough to survive, but didn't seem like it was motivated by a robbery. It was just a road rage, and out on a training ride in the Chevreuse Valley, one of the most beautiful places on earth to ride a bike, driver suddenly braked with trying to crash the group of riders, it just inexplicably, he was attacked by the passenger and the driver of the car. It's just insane. Just you know, what else can happen out on the open roads? Just please be careful out there. In all honesty, enjoying a bike ride on a nice day. For professional cyclists, it's their job. They have to be out there day in and day out, regardless of what the weather is like. I did have to do that. Now I can enjoy more pleasant weather conditions, choosing to ride when choosing to not ride when it's too nasty. But hopefully, motorists and cyclists can get along and pay attention, and we can enjoy motoring and cycling. And there's no reason why we can't share the road. And hopefully Johan Offredo can recuperate from this quickly physically, which the prognosis is good for that. But emotionally, that's another story. It's terrible to think that you have to be worried about every car that passes you. That's just, you just can't live like that. I've had plenty of instances, in too many to count, of people that just absolutely take exception to the fact that there's a cyclist on the road. I can't understand the reasons. It happens way too often. And please, everybody, be ready. Be ready for anything And best of luck to Johan Offredo, the team selected to race in the Tour de France, and it would be great to see Johan Offredo be able to compete in the Tour. Okay, this is next the tweet of the week. Tweet of the week coming to us from Jens Voigt, the Yensi. And he has a picture, a before and after picture, it looks like, from his race days on the Trek squad to just a few days ago. I haven't aged a bit, have I? Ha ha ha. Oh, please say, no, you haven't aged at all, Yensi. Yensi looks, I think he looks better in the most recent photographs. Not as drawn, not as skeletal, same expression basically. And I can assure you, working with Yensi in the last couple of years on a pretty regular basis, he still has the same energy that he had when he was racing, which is pretty daunting, to be honest. So, no, Yensi, you have not aged a bit. You look fabulous. And I can't wait to see you soon, hopefully at the Tour of California, but most certainly at the Tour de France. Okay, everybody, that's it for the Broom Wagon this week. I want to thank you for all your comments. The subscribers, thank you so much. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter if you'd like to buy some merchandise. Click on the t-shirt icon if you'd like to subscribe. Click on my face, and thumbs up are greatly appreciated. Until next time, be safe out there, everybody. I will see you on the road.